Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community and Ethereum ecosystem. My name is Wack. Today is Saturday, 17th of August, which is a special episode for you all because I missed two this week. And today's episode is going to cover a whole bunch of Rocket Pool news, such as the RPL benefactor making a return. We're going to be talking about new all-time low in prices against ETH for RPL. We're going to be talking about Langers having more input on ETH-only LEB8 validators. And on the Ethereum side, we're going to be talking about a new ETF application. We're going to be talking about Ernst & Young and their progress on making Ethereum Layer 2. And we're also going to be talking about Layer 2s and what they mean in regards to Ethereum. So let's get started.
10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
Okay, so we're going to start the episode here. Yesterday afternoon, Thomas popped into trading and checked the ratio, and the ratio was looking bad, like really, really bad. So Thomas replied by saying, WTF. Now, I don't know what happened in the background, but like Thomas wasn't feeling so good about the ratio, and I don't think anyone else was feeling good about the ratio either. Everybody was kind of upset. But what ended up happening was the RPL benefactor popped in a couple of hours later and said, Thomas is worried about you all. And then Halula replied by saying, it's fine, everything's fine. And then the benefactor showed a screenshot of a transaction where Thomas G sent the benefactor 1007 RPL, and the benefactor said, Thomas gives RPL to help you feel better. Now, for those of you been around for a while, you know that the RPL benefactor pops in once in a while and gives out RPL to people in the community. It's one of my favorite things in the community. I just love it so much. And here, the RPL, the benefactor says that they've got over 1,000 RPL and they're going to distribute it soon. And then a little while later, the benefactor got their rules and said everyone will get RPL. So what you have to do is you have to ask the benefactor, and the benefactor will send you some RPL, which is nice. And benefactor said if you've been active in governance or research threads or the forum, you will get more. I have lists. If your name is on the list, you will get more. And then the third thing was you have to send me a message to make your case. So if you are interested in getting RPL free, then reach out to the RPL benefactor and you will get RPL. There's already been some funny things happening with Lee. I think sent the benefactor 5 RPL and then got 10 RPL back. They did the old you send one, I send two thing, and then that already happened. I should have saved that transaction for you all actually to show you, but that was actually really funny. But then the benefactor went on to say that I'm not going to do that again. So if you do send Benny RPL, I don't think you're going to get double the amount back. But that was a funny little thing. And I think spirits instantly lifted. Everybody started talking about the benefactor. Everybody started talking about Thomas's generosity. But I think it was just a really nice moment for the community, and this is like some much needed positivity in the community. I think the Benny's been kind of missing in action since yesterday, so I think they might be busy out there or something. But I guess just send them a message and make your case. Oh yeah, so here's the transaction. So Lee says, I sent the RPL benefactor 5 RPL. So I either just wasted $50 or something amazing will happen. And then Halula said he's going to send 5.01 RPL back. And then he said 4.99 would be funnier. But then like a few minutes later, the RPL benefactor replied with this transaction hash, and it was sending 10 RPL back. So it's and then here the Benny says as well, like, do not send more RPL, will not double it again. So I think this has happened for the last couple of times where one person has gotten away with getting like some extra. I always remember the story of Bossy. The benefactor, I think, needed some ETH for gas and was asking someone to send them some ETH. And Bossy was like, yeah, I'll send you some, but didn't actually send any. I think the benefactor got really pissed off and ended up giving like 10 extra RPL or something to the next person, whoever it was, I don't remember, who ended up giving them some ETH for some transactions. So like I said, it's always a really nice time in the Rocket Pool community. So if you're around this weekend, I guess it might take Benny a while to get through 1,000 RPL. But yeah, definitely reach out and ask and you'll get free RPL. I'm not sure exactly like what the tiers are this time or anything like that, but normally it's like, I think like 5 RPL or 10 RPL or something like that. I think those kind of lines. So definitely reach out and see what you get. Okay, so moving away from the happier news onto the sad news. A couple of days ago, we hit new all-time low in price. Just earlier in the day, before that, we'd been talking about how it'd been nearly a couple of weeks since, well, a week and a half since we'd hit new all-time low. But that obviously didn't last, and we broke down below 0.004 on the ratio. So I just got this a few minutes ago before recording, and it says all-time low is 0.00394, and that was from yesterday, which was the 16th, and the price in USD hasn't hit a new low, but just against the ETH, RPL has hit a new low. So things are not looking good. Like I said, sentiment was really bad. A whole lot of people were upset about what was going on, and that's where we are right now. So hopefully some positivity from Thomas will help in the community, but things are bad. And this actually really reminds me of like the 2019 bear market, even going into 2020. Like, things got really bad, and in crypto as a whole, and especially the tokens that I was following at the time. But people were just really worried that this was going to be the end of crypto, and I think I'm starting to see sentiment similar to that about Rocket Pool right now. People are saying this is the end of Rocket Pool and that Rocket Pool is done, but hopefully that's not the case. But the price hit a new all-time low, and that was as of yesterday. So, well, it's not all-time low, it's post-Atlas low. We were lower than this before Rocket Pool launched on mainnet and stuff, but that was a long time ago. So you might be thinking, like, what are you guys doing to fix this, right? Like, what's happening? Won't the devs do something? Well, as I talked about in Rocket Fuel before, and I talked about it in Weekly Orbit this week, we've got a trident of upgrades coming, and the 3 different prongs of them are Constellation coming from NodeSet. That might take 3 to 6 months. We have Rocket Lend coming from Ramana and out of the GMC, and that might take like 2 to 4 months maybe. And then we've got this third discussion going on about ETH-only validators, and this is actually like a really interesting discussion that's been happening for the last few weeks, and we've actually made tremendous progress with it. And then here, there's some really interesting points that have come up, and one of them was here from Samus saying that one of RPL's fundamental value is unlocking ETH rewards. However, when Lido CSM goes live, that value will be taken away, and you can then get ETH rewards, boosted ETH rewards from Lido CSM without providing any RPL. So you won't need RPL to get that, right? Like, so that's one of RPL's reasons for existing will go away. And he said, Sam said, I'm saying as soon as CSM goes live, the majority of the fundamental value for RPL shifts from it unlocks boosted commission to be almost completely based on future value RPL. And Langus replied, Langus of course is from the team, said that's a great point. And then he actually had a little summation of where he stands, and he says, I'm coming around to the idea of ETH-only pools for the reasons others have given, but I'm summarizing them here. He says competition. Not having a comparative product when CSM launches could cause under-collateralized nodes to migrate to them. He says not having a comparative product when CSM, and we miss the opportunity to prevent them gaining share. And with the RPL value, he says TVL growth now creates future value for RPL in Saturn. If we improve TVL, the outlook for RPL is much better. It says a significant element of RPL's value prop unlocks commissions, gets nullified by CSM's launch, so better we take control of the narrative first. And he says, I do believe that adjusting the cliff would help reduce the likelihood of under-collateralized node churn. So these are 2 different points being made at the same time, right? One is you allow people to stake their ETH with Rocket Pool without any RPL and get access to the boosted rewards. The second is, the vast majority now of node operators are under the 10% threshold of RPL collateral, and they're getting no rewards. What some of them are doing is turning off their ETH validators to boost their percentage of RPL as their stake, and getting above 10% to get rewards, which is, making Rocket Pool TVL go down. The second is people are just turning off their validators, which is making RPL TVL go down. The one thing we're not seeing that much of is that people are topping up their validators. I think they did it for months, right? They did it and then did it again and did it again. And the fact that it's been going on for a year straight means that people are kind of now done with updating their collateral and bringing it above 10%. So the thing is, if Lido CSM goes live and these people will say, hey, we don't need, we don't need this RPL anymore, right? We can just go to Lido CSM and then they could sell that RPL. That wouldn't be good, but by giving those people rewards under 10% and changing the curve basically at which they earn rewards, so the closer you are to 10%, the more you get. And then the lower you are, you'll still get some rewards, but less. That could keep those people in Rocket Pool for longer. The interesting thing about there being like a massive sell-off or anything like that is the people would still need to keep their RPL locked, right? Like below the minimum threshold for collateral. So the same way that they turn off their validator and exit and sell, they'd still have to do that. So if we can give people reason to stay in Rocket Pool, that's better than them slowly leaving and the price going down. And then Langus goes on to say that he still has some concerns. He says we're running out of funds, running out of the funds in the smoothing pool. Is there modeling on this? So there's this idea that the rewards tree will change and the smoothing pool rewards will be changed so that people will be getting rewards out of there for the ETH only validators instead of from the smart contracts. The smart contracts would give, I think, 5%. The smoothing pool will give up to 6.5% in the latest modeling. So we need basically 10% of rewards coming from execution layer, something along those kind of lines. I'm not sure of the full details of the argument, but there's some modeling around that. But we'll see more in the coming days, I'm sure. Then Langus says, what's the effect on Legos? We need to engage the teams more to ensure compatibility. And this is one of the things that's happened is people have reached out to Nick and we are in the process of trying to find out what those guys think. Ramana overall thinks that you should give Legos more of a chance. Obviously, he's working with Rocket Lend, and Rocket Lend's success is built upon, Ramana getting paid basically is built upon Rocket Lend's success. So there's that element to it there. And then the third point here, Langus says, is timing and urgency. He says, although I agree that we need to move on this, I think it's important that we demonstrate rigor. I know most of the people here understand this, but move fast and break things does not work in Web3. It may take time to engage and refine the idea, but the conversation and analysis so far is getting us there. So then there's some questions here that Halulo started answering that you can go and read yourselves, but I think that this is definitely a positive step, and this is why I think it's much more likely that we get ETH only validators on Rocket Pool very, very soon. So here Jasper starts putting word out with tweets, and he said murmurs of allowing ETH only mini pools for Rocket Pool even earlier than Saturn upgrade would allow us to boost TVL and attract node operators before enabling the switch to the new tokenomics. And David here says, I would spin up a number of new mini pools if it was ETH only. Right now I'm underwater with sufficient RPL staked. And then Jose says, would this affect all node operators? Jasper says it would allow you to add validators without staking new RPL and potentially allow you to collect reduce rewards if you're under 10% collateral. Alex says, what sort of time frame might this be? Actually very relevant to what I might be doing this weekend. And I said if all goes well, we could get them in 2 months. We'll know more once we have a spec and it goes to vote for the community. And then Pat says, do it now. SSJ2 Spartan is saying woohoo baby, and Tihos, I'm sorry, I have no idea how to pronounce that name, I'm sorry, says the sooner the better. So people are waiting for this product, and hopefully it will get here soon. And I think that I think this will be a really good thing for Rocket Pool, even though there are some concerns around value capture for RPL. I think those are legitimate, but I think this is one of those situations where not doing anything is actually going to be much worse for Rocket Pool in the long run than doing something, especially with Lido CSM coming online, especially with Diva potentially going to testnet in the next week or two and coming online in this next 3 to 6 months as well, I guess. And with other, services like Puffer and others allowing permissionless staking as well, we really need to be on our game, and I think this will help us get there. Okay, we also got some other good news over the last couple of days, and that is Marko and Patricio have started a bond reduction on their second node. So this was something that we were hoping that would happen. We're trying to get back to that 18,000 limit in the deposit pool, and Marko I think took out 5,000 plus ETH from the deposit pool last week, and now he started bond reduction on his second validator, and it absolutely makes sense. With gas prices being as low as they are, they'll recoup the rewards of being so low within a matter of days, and then have boosted rewards forever more after that. And this is really cool. So they've done I think a lot of validators already, but of course they've got hundreds more to come as well. But this is definitely like a really positive step that this has happened, and they literally just, I think Marko sat at his computer for a few hours and just bond reduced after bond reduced. But if we look now, the deposit pool has 25,000 ETH in there. So we had hit over 30,000. Then Marko brought it down to 25,000 with his first node and reducing the bonds on that. And then over the few days that after he did that, there was a few more people exited, so the ETH in the deposit pool went up again. And now with Marko doing that, starting for his second, hopefully we can get it down to like 20,000, and then on his third and fourth nodes, hopefully we can get it down below 18,000 and then keep it at that place. So we can get people doing some Rocket Arb stuff. We can get other validators coming online. Hopefully that would be really great. Okay, moving on to some Ethereum news now. So the big news, one of the big pieces of news is this tweet from Nate Grassi here saying that Franklin Templeton files for crypto index ETF. It would initially hold ETH and BTC. Here we go. So this is filing the S1, I believe, and they are doing market cap weight. And the ticker would be easy peasy. So this actually was going to be a really nice product, and we've talked about this in Rocket Fuel before, where the flows will impact ETH more at its market cap than they would for BTC, and market cap weight means that as more flows come into this ETF, the ETH market share will actually go up relative to BTC based on that. And what then will happen is as they change the balance of their tokens, it will get closer and closer to parity, and that would be amazing because that will get us like really great ratio gains. So I think this is going to be a really cool product. I think the way they're setting it up is that they will want to add other products as the SEC approves them for ETFs. So for example, if the ARC and Van Eck applications for Solana get approved, then this is a product that then they will add Solana onto this product as well. But to begin with, it's starting with ETH and BTC, and I think that's going to be really cool. So these kind of products are really like we're going to start seeing a lot more of them. And first of all, we'll see options products for Bitcoin and ETH. We'll see leverage products. We'll see leverage long products, leverage short products. All of these financial instruments that we see with other investment vehicles, we'll see them with crypto as well, for better or worse. I think going into a bull run, it's potentially going to amplify the bull run quite a lot. If those short ETFs come in, we might see them kind of dampening the bull run to some extent. But the reality is that this will give people different avenues to come in and invest in these products, and hopefully we'll get those staked ETF products next year as well. But it's looking like crypto's getting more and more regulatory clarity in TradFi, and this is, and not regulatory clarity necessarily, but regulatory and financial integration into TradFi, and I think that's awesome. Okay, I want to give a shout out to Paul Brody here. And Paul Brody works with Ernst Young, or EY, as they rebranded a few years ago. And he gave an interview with the Defiant where he was talking about the EY, about how their ETH maxi firm. And this is really cool because I've known Paul Brody through ETH Finance. through 3 years. He posts there quite often, and it's really cool that, Ernest Young are doing such cool things with Ethereum. So here in the DeFi News, they're talking about, how they want to grow and who Ernest Young are, how they're getting involved with crypto, what Nightfall is, what their product is, how it works. And people actually really like this video, which is really cool. Here we have Next Alpha with a take on it saying Ernest Young has been working ZK Layer 2 with privacy on public Ethereum. This is a quote from the video saying there are 400 trillion assets that can be tokenized. Just like in network computing and e-commerce, Ethereum can grow with 25% every year for the next 20 years. So here Next Alpha gives their own take saying, and at the same time, crypto Twitter is checking the ETH 5-minute chart and are bearish, and the face palm emoji. Yeah, so I think this kind of ties into the fact that, what I was talking about Rocket Fuel earlier this week is we're going to see more and more and more of layer 2s and more of these companies coming and building on Ethereum. I think I've seen this narrative kind of forming this last week in all the crypto media I consume, which is a lot. But people are kind of saying Bitcoin is the store of value, Bitcoin is gold, whatever it is, they've kind of locked it into that box. And with Solana, it's kind of adopted this idea of being the meme coin casino and having, retail facing apps and experiences that people can go there and do. And Ethereum, what I keep hearing people saying is that Ethereum is for TradFi, Ethereum is for big finance, Ethereum is for big settlement. And I think that's really interesting because out of those three things, if I could choose, which one would I want? Of course, I'd want my blockchain to have all three of those attributes, right? But being the settlement layer and having all these products built on top of Ethereum is actually really, really amazing. And I think that a whole lot of value is going to be brought to Ethereum based on this. Now, 25% a year for the next 20 years is going to make our bags look really, really good. So I am totally here for that. So I hope you're right, Paul Brody. But even otherwise, these traditional finance firms, audit firms, these big financial powerhouses are building on Ethereum. And I think that a whole lot of the world is asleep on this. And once they wake up, I think it's going to be really good for us. Okay, talking about layer 2s, there was a bit of drama over the last couple of days in crypto Twitter about layer 2s. So Max Resnick here made a tweet and he said, Base is not Ethereum, it's Base. Arbitrum is not Ethereum, it's Arbitrum. And Optimism is not Ethereum, it's Optimism. This is L2s are not extensions of the L1. It's like saying if YouTube posts videos to Ethereum layer 1, then YouTube is an extension of Ethereum. So the point basically he's making is kind of referring to a lot of people saying, these L2s are Ethereum, right? It's a popular theme of messaging that's been going around for a few months, is saying Arbitrum is Ethereum and Base is Ethereum, etc. And that sounds nice, right? Especially when we're comparing metrics and stuff. You've even heard me say so many times on the show that when we are looking at metrics for Ethereum now, we don't just look at the layer 1 metrics, we also look at Ethereum mainnet plus L2s to get the full idea of what the metrics are looking like. So I think Max here is kind of fighting against that. I'm going to come back to that in a second, but Anthony Sassano here kind of had a tweet that said, trying to reason with people who say L2s on Ethereum is like trying to reason with a toddler having a tantrum. They're coping over the reality not being what they want it to be. L2s are Ethereum. Anyone claiming otherwise has the intellectual capacity of a toddler. And then there was some other takes as well I want to share with you all. So here, this one's from Mason. Mason saying L2s are different than L1s in that they have different validator set, trust assumptions, code, security, etc. What people really care about is value accrual. The reason people say L2s aren't L1s is because they don't benefit L1s as directly as an app building natively on the L1. But L2s rollups still benefit the base layer 1s because they often use L1 asset as a commodity collateral asset versus their own L2 native token, expand the number of developers and users for the L1 ecosystem, and L2s have some level of security that can be ascribed to the base layer. So that was an interesting take that I liked. And here, Next Alpha, again, retweeted featured today, says, as it becomes clear for more and more people that Ethereum is winning the world, the current ubiquitous ETH Corp in fashion is L2s on Ethereum. It says, get real. To permissionlessly build and deploy L2 experiments is the literal way to scale Ethereum and become the TCP IP HTTP standard to trade, transfer, and store and tokenize any kind of value. Let the corp keep the corp coming. And then next here we have him.eth saying Base is not Ethereum, Arbitrum is not Ethereum, Optimism is not Ethereum. It says all of them use ETH as their currency, all of them store data on Ethereum, all of them settle on Ethereum, all of them rely on Ethereum to determine their existence, their state. Furthermore, without ETH, you cannot transact on any L2s. In the proof of stake network, a strong native currency equals a strong network, i.e. move all activity from Ethereum to layer 2s. Ethereum will still be more secure network than any other L1. It says, for example, note that HTTP cannot function without TCP IP. Now I want to go back to Max's tweet because there was actually a really interesting reply to it here. From Jesse Pollack, of course, who works with Base, and he says, just to say it out loud, I disagree and believe that L2s are Ethereum. There are technical gaps that limit the certainty of that today, but that's a point in time, and every day we converge more. Proud to be building Ethereum with all these other great teams. And Max says, once you fill the technical gaps, I think we can agree again. So I think Max, going back to this point from Jesse here, was maybe being a bit hyperbolic and kind of getting a discussion going about what L2s are and aren't, but did it in a way that we've seen from Peter Silledy, from Geth do it sometimes, right? Kind of like poking the bear a little bit to try to get a reaction, to get people talking about an issue that he's passionate about potentially. And I'm just trying to be generous and giving him a generous take here. But I think what I think it means, right, is like we all know that the ETH layer 2s at this moment in time are not decentralized enough and haven't got all their the green check marks on L2B, and because of that we can say that there's some shortcomings. I even now tell people, don't put all your crypto on an L2, only send over what you're using or what you want to do, but if you've got cold storage of your ETH or any other ERC20s, etc., just keep them on mainnet. And yeah, that just makes sense, right? Because if something goes wrong, you don't want to be in a bad situation where your L2 of choice hasn't got escape hatch activated yet or something along those kind of lines. Not that I envisage anything like that will happen, but you'd rather be safe, right? Now, I think the reason why I'm saying that I think Max is kind of projecting here a little bit is because he's basically saying once they get all their green check marks, then we can agree again. And I think that we all know that those check marks have been getting more and more green over time. Like just a couple of months ago, we saw Optimism get 2 more green checks on their L2 beat profile, and Arbitrum were already getting more and more green ones. And I honestly think that by this time next year, or maybe a little bit longer than that, we'll be at a state where anyone can deploy as part of a super chain or whatever, they'll be able to deploy a layer 2 that is trustless, decentralized, permissionless, and all of those amazing things that we want in our crypto life, right? And I think that we will get there, but I think that's where Max might have been kind of just poking the bear a little bit. But it's definitely an interesting discussion, which is why I thought I would share it with you all. But let's actually talk about mainnet for a second. So Ethereum gas has been dirt cheap. So here we have Crypto Round saying that Ethereum gas fees are down at prices last seen 5 years ago, and this is bullish. Now, the current pricing is for a slow transaction to get through, it's less than half of 1 GUE. A standard transaction is 0.6 of 1 GUE, and instant transaction is 1 GUE. No, this is dollars. So sorry, to get a transaction through is 59 cents, 62 cents, or 1 cent. $1. $1. And now those prices are really low. And if we actually have a look at ultrasound money, we can see that gas right now is 1 GUE, and if you have a look over the last 7 days, the lowest it's been is 0.6 GUE, and the average has been 2.5 GUE. And of course, the burn happens at 23.9 GUE. So gas has been really, really cheap on mainnet, and those transactions are getting through really, really cheaply as well. So an interesting take that I saw about this was that when you scale Ethereum through L2s, you have actually scaled L1 at the same time, because a whole lot of transactions that would normally be taking place on L1s, people have moved them over to L2s now. This is things like minting NFTs. This is things like, simple transfers, interacting with some apps. Those are now happening more and more on layer 2. So as we've seen, layer 2 activities are at all-time highs. Now, what that does is it opens up layer 1 for people who want those high security, high value transactions potentially, or other people who just want to keep using mainnet. I think those numbers will go down more and more as the years go on, and eventually it'll be like, wow, you actually used mainnet, like how did that happen? And you'll have like the nonsense to prove it and stuff like that on your wallet. I think that day is maybe a few years away still, maybe many years away, but the fact is that as a lot of Ethereum users have moved over to layer 2s, layer 1 actually now block space has gotten a lot cheaper, and that is actually means that layer 1 experience is much better as well. So if you need to open positions, close positions, if you need to move things around, like if you want to open a safe, which I strongly recommend you do, now's the time to do that, because gas is so cheap. You can do it for a couple of dollars instead of hundreds of dollars. I remember in 2021, I paid $250 for a Uniswap swap, and now I can do that on layer 2 for less than like a few cents, maybe even 1 cent. So yeah, it's a whole new world in crypto, and that's really amazing. Okay, talking about a whole new world in crypto, again, I keep talking about Base. Base is just doing really, really cool things. Coinbase is doing fantastic things with Ethereum right now. And here Jesse says, do you want to bring the world on chain? We built a toolkit for small businesses that accept USDC on Base. Onboard a Base you own, onboard your local coffee shop, onboard anyone, and there's a link below. So they've got some information here that you can go to acceptusdc.com. That's their website. And you get basically no fees. You get more customers, you build a better world. And the idea is that you get a lot more merchant control over the kind of money that you get in, and you can swap USDC to US dollars on Coinbase 1-to-1 for free. So there's some really, really cool things going on over here, and Base is really pushing in every sense they can. They really are. I think if you said, what's Base for, right? Like you'd say Base is for payments, and Base is for like fun things. So they've got NFTs on Base, they've got Filecaster on Base, those kind of things. Now, if you say what's Arbitrum for, you'd say Arbitrum's for DeFi. And I think that's where the most liquidity is. That's where a lot of apps are. These kind of like identities are kind of forming now with different L2s, and I actually really like that. I think that's really good, especially once we get to these super chains and they start working properly. Then you'll be able to communicate across them much more easily if they're within that same silo. But this was really cool. So Brian Armstrong kind of started with the marketing, saying, what do you think will drive more customer adoption for these merchants? And he says, would you rather they say crypto accepted here, or would they rather say a USDC accepted here? And then Jesse actually came back and says, I was thinking alternative phrases here, and the one that stood out to me is pay on chain here. It says it's global, doesn't have baggage of crypto, uses on-chain language we know that works, and makes sense online and in person. And if anyone else has any thoughts or ideas, they can reply to some of these tweets, and you can get that information. So I think they're trying to bring online hundreds, if not thousands, of businesses across the world. And I already saw a tweet from our beloved Ken Smith, who is a rocket scientist in the Rocket Bull community, buying a coffee and saying that he paid for it using USDC on Base. So great stuff there, guys. Keep it going. Now, we're all about these waves of adoption in crypto, and we've got a new thing kind of brewing here, and this one is with MasterCard. So MasterCard are saying, bridging the gap between mainstream and decentralized financial worlds, we're making it easier for users of self-custody wallets to make card purchases everywhere MasterCard is accepted, while retaining custody of their funds until the moment of purchase. So in collaboration with industry leaders like Metamask and Banex Group, we're launching a groundbreaking Web3 card program that combines the freedom of self-custody with the security of the MasterCard network. The program marks a significant step towards mainstream crypto adoption, offering greater digital inclusivity and redefining how we interact with digital assets. So this is basically MasterCard saying that they're making a new credit card or debit card, probably a debit card, well, definitely a debit card that will link to your Metamask wallet. And when you pay, you'll be paying out of your Metamask wallet and into the merchant's accounts. Now, this is amazing news. And what's really funny is if this had dropped, like say in 2019 or 2018, I think ETH price would have pumped like 20% based on this news, if not more. But now like nobody even cares. And it's really funny because I think our expectations of what crypto is has changed so much in the last few years that these kind of things just seem like trivial now, because I think people just expect it, right? They just think, oh, that's just a given that this is going to happen. Whereas there's still a lot of integration stuff that needs to happen, and that still is happening, but it's getting better and better each day. I guess when you've got nation states purchasing crypto through ETFs, potentially it kind of changes the game a little bit, and you're in the big boy leagues now. So this is really cool. Okay, so for those of you who are going to be going to Devcon in November, for those of you who don't know, there's a big Ethereum conference taking place in Thailand, and here David, the Devcon unicorn, is kind of hyping it, saying that they've received almost 3,000 speaker applications. This is twice as many as for Devcon 6, and the quality is just mind-blowing. The selection process is tough, and they said check out the different charts with the topics that they have that will be covered at Devcon this year. So there's things like applied cryptography, coordination, core protocol, crypto economics, cypherpunks and privacy, developer experience, layer 2s, real-world Ethereum, security and usability. What's really interesting here is that real-world Ethereum pie chart is the biggest out of all of them. So I think that's going to be really interesting. Sadly, I'm not going to Thailand this year. I think once I make it in crypto, I'll be going to all the major crypto conferences. But sadly, I'm not at that point yet. So I'm still going to have to watch from afar and cover the news on Rocket Fuel, of course, for you all, where things are relevant for you. But this is going to be really exciting. There are a whole lot of people from the Rocket Pool community going, and there's a bunch of people from like ETH Finances and other communities that I know who are going as well. So I think it's going to be a really cool event. And I'm going to finish today's episode with some good news out of the Rocket Pool community, and this is news of Nick S. Helululo actually asked, can we get the Legos to give their input in this process and tell us what they think of ETH-only validators? Nick replied by saying, I will comment later this weekend, likely on Sunday. Baby was very recently born, and I'll be back from the hospital then. Currently too busy/wrecked. Thanks for the patience. So this was such great news that Nick had a baby, and I'm so happy for him. I remember like yesterday when my first guy was born, and it's a really magical / really stressful time. So I don't blame Nick for not replying right away, but it's really wonderful that he's experiencing this joy. So congratulations, Nick, and I hope your loved ones are all doing well. And on that note, I'm going to finish this Saturday episode of Rocket Fuel. That's because I missed 2 episodes this week. But thank you all for watching, listening, and being part of the Rocket Fuel community. I hope you all have a lovely weekend ahead. Make sure you reach out to the RPL benefactor for some free RPL, and I will see you all on Monday. Bye.